What's going on, y'all? Jupiter Bassin. So it's 2024. I know a lot of you guys are starting into new hobbies. A lot of you are getting into fishing, and you know, what better way than to show you guys how to use a bait caster. Now, bait caster is a little more trickier than a spinning combo. So today I have my bait caster here all set up. I'm gonna go ahead and start as if this thing came right out of the box. First thing I want to talk to you guys is about what line to put on it. So first off, the line you want to put on this is you're going to want to put a heavier monofilament line. You know, there is more memory to it, but it's going to be more cost effective for you guys than to use braid or fluorocarbon, and you're going to bird's nest. It happens to everybody. I don't care how good of a fisherman you are, it happens. So using a heavier monofilament line is going to make it easier to cast as well as more affordable for you as a fisherman. Alright, y'all, so the next thing I want to talk about whenever you're getting started and you want to set up for your bait caster is you want to go ahead and go through the tuning of the bait caster. So first off, we're going to go ahead and pop this side plate open up right here. We're going to open this up here, and you'll see in here there's these brakes. Now this is what's going to control when you're casting it out there. It's going to slowly use these brakes, these little pins, to go ahead and slow your lure as it's going to the water. So that's what's going to help stop the bait. A lot of people like to use their thumbs. It's good to start getting used to using a brake system. So to start out, usually like in this Shimano here, there'll be 2 brakes on and 2 brakes off. So we're going to go ahead, and it looks like they're all on right now. So we're going to go ahead and flip 2 of these off, and then we have 2 of them on. And that's going to go ahead and just be a guide. You don't really need more than that, and I wouldn't recommend less either. So just starting out, do half on, half off with the brakes. So we're going to go ahead and put this plate back on, tighten this up, and then the next thing you want to look at is going to be here is your tensioner knob. Now with this tensioner knob, you want to go ahead and make this super tight to start out. And I recommend whenever you're picking a lure using something heavier. You don't necessarily have to use anything with trebles. You could use a heavy plastic worm, or you could even use a just a heavier crankbait or a spinnerbait or whatnot. Maybe not avoid spinnerbait, because a spinnerbait's going to catch a little bit more wind, a little more air, and be more resistant, so it would be easier for backlashes. So stick to something heavy, whether it be a stick bait or a crankbait. I would say go with the stick bait, because if you break off or if you get too tangled up, it's not too much of a mess. That way you don't lose a really good expensive lure. And then the next thing we're going to do is you're going to go ahead, and this is your drag right here. It's going to be this little star looking thing here on the bait caster, and you're going to want to go ahead and go counterclockwise with it. It's going to go ahead and tighten that up. So you want it almost tightened all the way down. And then, like I said, you want your tensioner knob tight. So whenever you're releasing this thing, I'm going to go ahead and show you on the GoPro. You don't have any of that going down. See, I have the button on the bait caster press, and the bait's not going down. Just to start out, just so I'm learning. So we're going to go ahead and take a cast with this thing, and I'll go ahead and fix the camera so you guys can see it from another angle. Alright, so when you're casting this thing, I like to start out by going, you know, sidearm with it. I like to throw it from the side, almost like you're swinging a bat, or you're going to be hitting something like a ball or whatnot, or even a tennis racket. Going from the side, it gives you a little bit more control and less, you know, if you're throwing it overhand, a lot of times people will, you know, overrun the spool and it'll go straight into the water like this. And you don't want that. You want to go from the side to where when you throw it, you want to click down and hold your thumb on it. And as you flick your wrist release, and then you can go ahead and retrieve in. Now, you just keep doing this process over and over again. And after a while, you know, you'll start to get good at it. And then you can go ahead and release this tensioner knob a little bit, and go ahead and move that counterclockwise and loosen it up. So it'll look like whenever you're doing this, you go ahead and release that bait, how it goes down a lot faster. Now, that might be too fast for you, but let's get a nice, slow, perfect. That's a little better. We're a little closer. You know, we're getting towards more loose. And see how much easier that was to cast? So let's retrieve this in. And after doing that a few times, you'll get a little more comfortable. You could even do this in the yard if you want to. I would avoid using something with a lot of hooks though if you decide to do it in your grass or in your yard. And then we can go ahead and loosen this up just a little bit more so it plops down, but you don't see how it doesn't override when you drop it in. And that's just a little bit too much. So right here, when you drop it in the water, still a little overrun, so you don't want that. So tighten it up a little bit more. And that's perfect. All right, so then keep flicking from the side. Perfect, and we're getting a little bit more distance, and my bait is all tangled up. But that's the goal of it, and just keep practicing that. Now eventually, you'll be able to go overhand. And when you do overhand, it's all a timing thing. You wanna time yourself out when you throw it. And I would recommend even tightening up your tensioner knob a little bit more. And so when you're releasing over the top, you wanna bring it back and you wanna release right at the top, literally right when you hit the rod perfectly straight up to the sky. You wanna release that bait. If you release it a little earlier than that, you're gonna just cast it a million feet up in the air. It's gonna go nowhere. You want it to be almost like you're throwing a football or a baseball. You wanna hit that, you wanna release the ball at the top, at the peak of your motion. So what I mean is you wanna release it now, right when you hit the top. And I'll show you an example of what happens if you release it too late. When you release it too late, I'm going to tighten the tensioner knob because I don't want to nest. But if you release it too late, it's going straight into the ground like that. And then I'll give you an example. If you throw it too early, it's just going to go way up in the air. You're not going to get any distance on it. So those are just some things to practice. Like I said, throwing from the side is going to be a lot easier for you guys to start. And then once you get a little better at it, you can go ahead and cast over the top. Now I've found throwing it over your head, you get a little bit more distance on it, but it's nice to learn from the side, and eventually maybe we'll be able to skip one day or to be able to, you know, get it under like the dock we're standing on right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or if there's anything else you would like me to show you guys, I'll be more than glad to help with that. But until next time, y'all, peace.